What's going on, everyone? Welcome back along to the channel where today is Team of the Week number 1 for round 1, the first one of season 2 of the subscriber series. Yes, that is right. What happens normally here is we choose a top 15 from the 4 sides that have played so far. So that is 60 players that have taken the field for the 4 respective sides. No injuries in round 1, so we got a nice even number. With your help, hopefully throughout the rounds, you can leave your comment after the matches to say if you thought someone or some players from that match did impress you. You can leave your thoughts and say who it was and you think they deserve to be in the team of the week. That comes into consideration, and then I make up my top 15 players from each and every round for you guys to have a look at, and let me know if you agree or disagree who you think should be there instead as well. Also, on the Team of the Week episode, we have a look at things like the game breakers, the leading point scorers, the most line breaks, the most tackles, and of course, the most tries from our 4 subscriber sides. So today we're going to give that a bit of a miss because there wasn't too many try scorers. We'll probably wait till round 2. We've got a bit more numbers to work with before we take a look at who those leading players are. But, of course, today still has been 4 matches, which means we can still make up our 15 players for Team of the Week. So get involved in that after every match of round 2 and let me know who you think deserves to be there. And we'll have another one after the second round and have some stats as well, especially the one for the forwards, which is tackles, because the forwards generally are the ones involved in that heavy stuff through the guts. So plenty of awards to keep your player going for. Of course, the fly halves really do normally nail the points tally. The wingers, the outside backs, they normally take the try scorers, but the tackles and the line breaks is anyone's game, as we've seen from the first round. The back row definitely was one of the best performing areas of those first 4 matches. So let's get straight into it, eh? Let's have a look at who will be the Team of the Week for round number 1. Okay, so let's kick things off in the front row, where there was quite a bit of competition for these positions. 1, 2, and 3, loose head, tight head props, and of course the hooker. My 3 to fill those positions are going to actually be one from 3 different sides. We're going to have, at loose head, is Luke de Normanville. Yes, he played tight head in the matchup, but we had so many good players for this, I had to mix them up a bit. But Luke de Normanville from the Guardians of the Crib will be starting on the loose head side. Next up, we will have another Luke. We've got Luke Lambert from the All Flakes coming in at hooker to take the number 2 jumper. And then keeping, I didn't even notice this when I wrote these down, but keeping on the tight head side is Lucas Barrett. I didn't even notice it's 3 hours. Luke, and Lucas. How amazing is that? But Barrett is from the Flakers. So it's de Normanville, Lambert, and Barrett coming in as my front 3 in the front row. Honourable mentions coming to David O'Callaghan from the Celtic Dragons, James Hudson from the Flakers at hooker, and Nicholas Friedlander from the All Flakes, also an honourable mention. That was very, very close to making that front row Team of the Week players. So those guys miss out just, but deserve the honourable mention as well. So Luke de Normanville, Luke Lambert, and Lucas Barrett are your front row. In the second row, not much of a day for the second rowers in the opening round, but I've gone with Ethan Nicol from the Celtic Dragons and Caleb Cook from the All Flakes as the standouts in the second row from the opening round. Not much else to really talk about those guys. They had solid games. None of them were really too spectacular from the 8 players that played in those positions. So Ethan Nicol and Caleb Cook take 4 and 5. Now into the back row. This is where we had some standouts. And again, like the front row, I've had to switch a couple around to get these guys all to fit. The number 7s were exceptional. And that is why I've gone with Brett Hartley at 6. So I've moved him from 7 to 6 because he was just phenomenal. And alongside the next man, pretty much will have to be my 50-50 player of the week, because next to him is Theo Clark from the Guardians of the Crib, who was amazing. Hartley and Clark, All Flakes Guardians, those 2 were my players of the week. They really did just take their game over. Hartley in open play set up a magnificent try for the All Flakes, and it was Theo Clark who scored one of his own. Around the game, they were brilliant. Made no mistake, they were exceptional. And then at number 8, we're going to have Connor Nicholson from the Flakers. Monster of a man. I couldn't help but leave this guy out. he was just too strong, too good. He's just too much of a monster. And he slots in at number 8. But again, we're going to have some honourable mentions as well in this back row, because I thought Nigel Jonesy from the Celtic Dragons had a very, very strong game, and I cannot leave this guy out from giving a mention as well. Akahata Kamana from the All Flakes. This kid's got talent, and I really wanted to put him in because I think he deserved it, but you can guarantee he will be in this Team of the Week in the future, definitely. He is just an absolute menace in that back row. Strong, adaptable, very, very good player. So just misses out this time. Connor Nicholson takes his number 8 jumper. So there is your forward pack. We've got De Normanville, Lambert and Barrett in the front row. Nicol and Cook in the second row. Hartley, Clark and Nicholson is your back row. Now, let's move on to the backs, shall we? 9, halfback, scrum half. This was a difficult one because these guys were solid. All of them, a lot of Irishmen, because we've got a lot of Irish scrum halves. But I've had to narrow it down, and I'll say every scrum half that played was that far away from getting this number 9 jumper and Team of the Week. But I've gone with Luke Bendel from the Flakers. The only real reason I've gone with him over the others is because he had quite a good little kicking game during that match, where the Flakers really did rely on him to give them that forward momentum from the boot. So that is why I've gone with Luke Bendel, but credit goes to everyone that played 9 in the opening round. You had a pretty solid matchup, and I'm sure we're going to see plenty more from those scrum halves in the future. Outside him, William Mann from the Celtic Dragons. Now, this was tough as well. We had a lot of good players playing in the number 10 jumper, but I've gone and given it to Andrew Inch from the Celtic Dragons. He had a stormer. He had a brilliant game, and I think he should probably be the leading point scorer at this current time, but we'll see next week. We'll give it 2 rounds for everyone to have a chance to play, because remember, all the guys on the bench from round 1 will be playing in round 2. So let's give it even playing field. Everyone will have at least one matchup to stake their claim. So I've gone with Andrew Inch to line up with the number 10 jumper from the Celtic Dragons, but I'm going to give honourable mentions here to George Pullman, who scored the first points of the series with his try from the All Flakes, and Don Butler from the Guardians had a very, very, very solid game, just not quite the X factor that we've seen from Andrew Inch in the opening round, but still very, very solid. We'll move into the centres now. We've got an inside and outside centre. We've got one from the Celtic Dragons and one from the Guardians of the Crib. Now, I think most will agree with this. Steve Tekogs from the Celtic Dragons. An absolutely amazing game he had. He controlled everything. He broke lines and he broke hearts. He was extraordinary, and he slot easily into that number 12 jumper. Outside him, I had a tough call. 2 men could have gone 12 and 13 who are veterans of the series, who have played in both seasons so far, but I've gone with the newcomer, South Spire Whisker, and I kind of feel harsh for doing this, but Oliver Elliott Williams I think was solid, and I think really did control the midfield for the Guardians of the Crib. He's only just, and I mean just, pipped Pierre Valentine for that number 13 jumper, but like I talked about with the likes of Kamana earlier in the back row, Valentine is going to be a guy we are going to see a lot of in Team of the Week later on as well. He is an extraordinary player, and I think he'll be taking that number 13 jumper quite a few times, if not other jumpers, in the Team of the Week. But today, just by whisker, we've gone with Oliver Elliott Williams, mainly because of his name as well. What an extraordinary name that is. On to the wings, and this was pretty simple. We had one man who was an absolute standout, best winger in round 1 without a question. And that goes to the man who I mess up his name more often than I'd like to admit, Liam Symes Wells. Now, I hope I'm saying that correctly, because I'm saying it a lot more now. This guy's extraordinary. He is an absolute cracker of a player. He is a fire starter. He is a chance creator. And he is a spark at the end of that All Flakes backline. He played phenomenally and deserved that number 11 jumper without question. On the right wing, I've gone actually with the Italian, Andre Miller. Now, it was often hard because no other wingers really shone like Liam Symes Wells did, but Andre Miller had a solid game. He did nothing wrong, and he was very productive out in that right wing and did a lot of hard work. So I've got him there just for his workmanlike performance for the Flakers. Had a good complete match, scoring points as well. Always good for a winger. Andre Miller slots in on the right wing in the number 14 jumper. And finally, at fullback, This was just a defensive selection. It goes to the man from the Celtic Dragons, Richard Mokwah. Now, he didn't do much on attack, but he did a lot on defense. He was that stone wall at the back of the Celtic Dragons line. He was exceptional. He fielded kicks all over the place. He made returns. He was in support. He had a really storming game, but didn't really feature in attack, which fullbacks, Rugby Challenge 3, that kind of does not go hand in hand, attack with those fullbacks. But what he did do is he didn't let any points. He had an exceptional match at the back that led from a very, very good, solid defensive effort where they didn't let much through at all. So Richard Mokwah takes the number 15 jumper from the Celtic Dragons. Now, unbeknownst to me at the time, this has got almost a dead even split of players from all the clubs. 15 players, 4 from each team would be 16. So I worked this all out, and then amazingly, from picking out the players I thought were exceptional from round 1, I've actually gone with a really, really good mix of all the sides. So I'm really happy with how this has worked out. You guys have all played fantastically in the opening round, and do not forget, if you didn't play in round 1, you will definitely be playing in round 2. So don't get too disheartened that you're not going to play. It's got a squad of 23 for all 4 sides, so you guys are all going to be taking the field, if not every week, every second week, guaranteed. So that is it. That is what the Team of the Week is all about. I give my selections, I give reasons why, and your guys' thoughts come very much into my selection process as well. So leave your comments if you think anyone played very, very well. We got some about how good Brett Hartley was in that opening matchup, and some about Steve Teacogs as well. So keep them coming. Let me know your thoughts. They come in very, very handy when I come to selecting this side as well. So thank you all for tuning in and watching. Hope you're enjoying the subscriber series so far. 4 more games coming up for round 2. It all kicks off next episode with the All Flakes in their next match versus the Exeter Chiefs. Should be a cracker. Should be a stunner as well. So I'll see you all then. Thank you all for your interest in playing in the subscriber series, and I'll see you all for the first match of round 2. Until then, take care.